between pituitary dwarfism and typical dwarfism? Well, there is no sense of typical dwarfism. There's thousands of versions of dwarfism. There's new ones every day. I would view it as every person that has dwarfism unique to them, because whether you have the same form of dwarfism, whether you both have achondroplasia, or you both have pituitary, or whatever your form of dwarfism is called, it still affects you differently. But let's look at the definitions. Okay, so dwarfism is defined as someone with short stature that results from a genetic or medical condition. Dwarfism is generally defined as an adult height of 4 foot 10 inches or below. Now, that is not to say if you are 4 foot 10 or below that you are someone living with dwarfism. There is a genetic condition or a medical condition that has happened that has caused that dwarfism. If you are short-statured and you don't have any genetic family with dwarfism, or you didn't go through a medical condition that caused your short stature, you do not have dwarfism. And either way, you have to get diagnosed by a medical professional to say that you have dwarfism. Now, pituitary dwarfism, or growth hormone deficiency dwarfism, is known as a dwarfism that is caused by an insignificant amount of growth hormone in the body. This can cause short stature, delay in dental and skeletal frames. Now, with pituitary dwarfism and other forms of dwarfism, there are differences I have noticed. One being that other forms of dwarfism seem to be caused more by genetics, while pituitary dwarfism predominantly is caused by a medical issue. There is something that person with their dwarfism went through medically at a young age, or a preteen age, before puberty, or before the most growth the human body sees, and it's caused a delay or a stop to their hormone producing at all, and they went on treatments to try to help it, and they kind of got stuck where they got stuck when they got stuck. That is what happened with me. That is what happened with a lot of people I know with pituitary dwarfism. I can't say that there isn't a form of pituitary dwarfism caused by genetics, but as far as I know medically, my doctors have told me and my family that this is not something that was caused by genetics. This is something that was caused medically. This was something that was a side effect of my cancer and chemotherapy, and this has nothing to do with my past or my present ancestry. There is no genetic form of dwarfism in my lineage, and that seems to be true for a lot of people with pituitary dwarfism. I know people that have had children with pituitary dwarfism, and they haven't genetically passed anything on. So from my experience and my understanding, pituitary dwarfism is predominantly caused by medical issues, while other forms of dwarfism tend to be pointed at genetic issues. Now, another difference I have noticed, and this is not to say for all forms of dwarfism, but with the more common forms of dwarfism, or the dwarfism I have come into contact with, there is a disproportion in some sense, whether it be skeletal frame or muscle frame or anything like that. There's a disproportion in their legs, torso, arms, their waist, sometimes their head, and it doesn't make their dwarfism any less than my dwarfism, but my dwarfism is proportional. My dwarfism is something less noticeable to the naked eye. And that is a difference I have seen with my dwarfism versus other people's dwarfism, is you can usually tell that they have dwarfism, while people with pituitary dwarfism, it takes you a second to kind of understand that they are an adult, or that they are mature, and they aren't the child that you perceive them as, or the short-statured disability that you assume they have. It's a different form of dwarfism. That is mainly the differences. I don't know anything down to, like, if our bones are different. I know that people with pituitary dwarfism still have arthritis. I have arthritis in my knees, what seems like my elbows and my shoulders now. I know that there's a lot of medical issues that come with other forms of dwarfism. but that doesn't mean they were caused medically. They were caused genetically, and my form of dwarfism was caused medically, and any issues that I come into contact with are due to that medical form of dwarfism and will be medical issues because of that medical dwarfism, not the genetic dwarfism, which makes it a little different and a little harder for people to kind of understand. In the medical field specifically, I've had to over-explain myself to doctors because there is unfortunately not as much information on pituitary dwarfism. I mean, if we can compare what I looked up on the internet in the definitions of science, there's not as much as there is on dwarfism, and hopefully that will change. But I hope this helps, and I would like you to know that this is all my personal understanding. This is actually not like a medical diagnosis. This is not a medical explanation. This is my personal experience and my personal explanation. Bye!